Hey CVAR folks, Steve Smargiasso, group rep for Group 7. Hey, wanted to try something a little different. Instead of an email that can be read many different ways, affect folks many different ways, and not understand exactly what I wanted to get across, we thought we would try to do this in video. I got an able-bodied assistant, Anthony, my son, behind the camera, so thanks Anthony for helping us do this. I'll make this quick, and sorry for the informality and the unprofessionalism, but I want to make sure I get through the points and make this as concise as possible. So you are in the world headquarters of Corsa Tecnica. Those of you who don't know me, I campaigned the number 37 Datsun 240Z at CVAR. And about a year ago, we decided that we would try to offer a vintage rental experience for those folks that didn't have a car, and we formed Corsa Tecnica. My son Alexander and Anthony have both helped in that. Alexander's the key fab and kind of guy and is trying to get involved in this. And as you can see, much like you guys probably are, we're working on a number of different projects. Really excited to get ready for the upcoming season, which is kind of why I wanted to talk to you. We've got a really great opportunity at CVAR to build this club and grow on what we've established over the years. We've got a really neat mix of cars, and we've got some really neat competition going on within the group, and we want to just build on that. And I know there's been a lot of discussion about where the club's going to go. Are we going to, let in newer cars? Are we not? All of that's great. We can discuss that, but really what we're talking about is what we're doing right now with what we have, and we have a really neat opportunity before us. I think it's important though to understand and put yourself in the perspective of the other guys in the club that you're running with. And it's really important that we have this understanding of what makes this fun for some folks. Now, I know a lot of folks don't care about getting points or the championship, they can't race often enough, or just not a goal of theirs, and that's absolutely fine. Never gonna worry about that or not. But I do need you to understand that we do have rules in place and that we do need to follow them. And the reason for that is a couple of different reasons. For one thing, for some of the folks in the club, the actual racing is the fun of it. And if we're going to keep time and we're going to keep score and we're going to have places and we're going to talk about who we can beat and who we can't beat, then we all must agree that we need to be on a level playing field. I want to applaud Skip Duplessis. He's kind of leading the way here with an open forum with his car. I know, for me at least, he has set the bar. He's the fastest guy in our group and is a super talented driver, and I really want him to get credit for that. There has been some discussion on whether cars are legal when they're that fast, and I applaud Skip for opening his car up to the public. It's something for us to all shoot for. There is the fastest guy in the group with a completely legal car. And so Skip, thanks a lot. I don't want to introduce any new rules. We're not talking about doing anything differently than what's written down with CVAR right at this moment. So there's really no issue here. All we are gonna do is try to conform to what we're supposed to be doing. So I want the whole heart of this thing to be cooperative, and I want it to be voluntary. And again, I'll go back to what makes this fun for a lot of the folks in the club is that it's fair and that it's level racing just like it would have been back in the day. So even if you don't care about points, really want to try to get the cars legal, okay? So over the winter here, as we're working on our cars, I really would like for everybody to fill out an annual declaration form. There's a reason it's annual. If you haven't done one in a few years, even if you've raced with CVAR for a long time, and even if you don't want points, I'd really like for you to get an annual declaration form to me. I will try to get with the folks that are keeping track of that stuff, find out who has one and who doesn't. But since we have to do it every year, let's just assume nobody has it done right now and we should all get them in before February. Why are we all here? And kind of talk about where we are as a group at the moment. And I think we've lost our way a little bit. I'd like for everybody, again, we want to do this cooperatively and voluntarily. I'd like for everybody to sort of look in the mirror over this winter and decide whether your car is really meeting our rules or it's not. Remember, we're not going to reduce or introduce any of our rules. We're not going to introduce anything new. We're not trying to change anything. We're really just trying to get back to where we are supposed to be, because somehow we've let that slide a little bit. And you all know what that can do to racing. It can increase the cost of racing, it can make people mad, it can do all these other things. And even again, if you don't want points, we really should have your car legal. But let's talk about how we get there, because we have let this slide a little bit. I want you to know that I am willing to do the work to make sure that things are fair, that I will put time in to help folks research, to check on what we're doing, and to try to help everyone get to where we need to be. We're certainly going to be totally accommodating. If you find yourself in a situation where your car is not quite legal, the key to this whole thing is communication, and let's talk about it. So a couple of scenarios where we could find ourselves, and I've talked to a couple of folks live about this. I won't mention names, but you may have bought a car and you knew that the car was not legal when you got it, and you're still continuing to race it with a plan to, at some point in time, bring it into CVAR legal rules. And certainly we'll be willing to work with anybody over a long period of time to do that. The second scenario is you might have bought a car, you don't really know what you have, and we'd be more than glad to give you time to figure that out and do that. Third scenario is I found myself in this situation where I had a legal situation, motor blew, and I needed to replace it. I think everybody in the club would much rather have you out on the track if possible, as long as you don't have a gross performance advantage. Much rather have you out on the track than home with something broken. So if you find yourself in that situation, let's talk about it. I'm sure we can come up with something. As long as the other competitors know that it's a temporary situation, we can work through that. The fourth scenario is where we really have the problem, and that's folks that have just plain disregarded the rules that we have and have gone out and purchased things knowing that they're outside the rules to gain an advantage. And that's really against the spirit of what we do at CVAR, right guys? I mean, let's be fair. We're all supposed to be friends. We're supposed to be buddies. I know that we all are, but really think about what you're doing and how it affects the other guys that you race with, because it's really not fair for a guy like Skip, who's really talented and has, a fast car. The way to get Skip is to become a better driver. Don't know that I'll ever get there, but that's my goal, okay? The way not to get there is to go get some performance advantage that just doesn't make it fair, okay? So please, I'm asking you to look in the mirror over the winter, look at your car. If you think something's going on, please contact me. We can keep all those conversations private. We can work through a plan on how to get to where we need to get. What I do want to tell you though is over this next coming year, sort of the first half and the second half, especially if you're running near the front, your car really needs to be legal. And we are going to try to help you get there with that scenario. So please, again, check yourself over the winter. And it's really important. I want you to understand what CVAR stands for, what our reputation is across the country. We've built a really neat thing that we have great participation with. Our cars are supposed to be legit. We have a great atmosphere and camaraderie that people are dying to get into, whether they have the right car or not. And that's a great thing we can build on. But it really is a great responsibility for us. I know a lot of people have some lower opinions of these great big clubs that have kind of really crazy rules out there. We really need to not be like that. We need to show up to those events with our style cars, show them that we can still do what needs to be done. And more importantly, I don't want you to lose the fact that we really are preserving history here. And the farther that our cars get away from what they were intended to be, the less we're doing the job of representing what they stood for and how we got to where we are today. So again, sorry for the informality. My heart is to just help anyone that needs help. This is not a Nazi type step on your neck, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that. I want this to be a reflection, all of us looking in the mirror and saying, if there's guys out there that really get a kick out of racing fair and I'm not, I really need to stop doing that. And so that's why the purpose of the message. If you have any questions about anything that's going on, please give me a call. More to follow. We'll see you. Thanks.